Okay, so we've done a Q&A, which we didn't record. I'll get on to a little side lesson to describe what was in the Q&A, but suffice it to say, be very careful when you draw and split and trim curves that you don't leave curves open or overlapping on each other. So today we're going to take a look at how you can quickly on the web find some textures to apply to your own items in Rhino. So I'm not going to describe what I'm doing just because I want to move a little bit quickly on this component. I'm not going to go into depth on it. I'm making a circle for finger size. For gent, I'm going to make 18mm diameter. Then I'm going to draw an outside for it. So I'm going to take this circle, I'm going to scale it from 0 with copy. So I'll make a copy of it a little bit bigger. I could have also used offset. Doesn't really matter what you use to get there. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab this curve over here, I'm going to grab its top points, pull them up, pull them out, something like that, and I'm going to cut the top off of it with a line. Alright, so none of these commands should be a surprise to anyone anymore because we've done a few lessons with them. So I'm going to grab these two, I'm going to trim, I'm going to get rid of this and this and this, and remember after you trim you must join. Right?
Together.
Yeah. In my case, I don't like this kink that I'm seeing here. It's hard to see, I think, in the video. So you can see that there's a little kink there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to join for now.
Okay.
I'm just going to press enter. I'm going to grab those guys. I'm going to rebuild them. Remember we did rebuild?
Yeah, we did.
I'm going to rebuild to an odd number of points. Let's have a look on our screen. You can see that at 5 points it's not enough. So I'm going to go up a little bit. 6, 7, 7 points. I want the minimum number of points I can. 7's looking good, yes.
Where is the number? From here, 1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4, 5. Oh, okay.
It's the number of points we're building to.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go to 9 because it gives me exactly where we were.
Okay.
Only difference is before in the 9, you had a degree 2 curve that we're now converting to a degree 3 curve. So let me cancel that and show you what I mean.
Yeah.
So if I grab that point and I move it, you'll see that's got a kink.
Yeah.
All right, if I grab that curve and move it, you'll see that it's got a kink.
Yes.
That's because it's a degree 2 curve. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, so to quickly explain what the difference is over there, I'm going to start drawing a degree, look on the line, I'm going to set a degree 2 curve, and I'm going to draw the curve out like this. What it means is when I move this for up to the second curve away, you see that this is moving on the first curve, but it's not moving on the last one. Let me draw a longer line. Degree 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
Okay.
So let's grab this. Let's
Yes.
grab this point and let's move it.
1, 2, 3.
Can you
4,
see
5.
that there is movement up to the second point, but not the third one? So when I move this curve, it changes the rest of the curve up to the second point, but then after that doesn't move it.
The second point next to that point.
So here's point number 1,
Yeah.
point number 0,
Yeah.
point number 1, point number 2.
I
Do you
get
see
it.
that moving this? Point
Yeah.
number 2 hasn't moved. All right?
Yeah.
So if I take this curve and I rebuild it again,
Yeah.
this time I'm going to keep it at 8 points, but I'm going to go to degree 3. Okay?
Okay.
So now I grab this point. Let's find a point here. So I grab this point here.
Yeah.
There's point 0, 2, 3. I need more points. Hang on, I'll draw another curve. This time I'm going to go degree 3 and draw out a lot more points just to make it easier to explain what we're doing. Doesn't matter how many points I draw.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a degree 3 curve. I'm going to grab that point.
Yeah.
And you see that when I pull it,
Yeah.
I'm now adapting point 0, point 1, point 2. Did I draw degree 3?
You did 2 probably.
Did 2. All right, but anyway, so you get the idea. Degree 3, degree 4, degree 5. It's how much of the points is it going to influence.
This degree 1, this is degree 2, or this is
this
degree...
is point 0. And then
this
1,
1, 2,
3, 4.
So that's why I think this part is degree 1.
Correct. No. Degree 1 is a kink. So if I make a degree 1 curve, it's a line. It's a line curve. See? Now you've got a kink. You move 1, it shifts 1. We'll get to this in a more advanced lesson. Let's finish up this one for today.
Okay.
All right, so anyway, because this was created as a series of degree 2 curves with a kink inside there, which is degree 1, I need to rebuild, I need to get rid of this nonsense, because when I extrude, you'll see what happens when you extrude this, you actually get different surfaces. All right, so if I take this, I don't want different surfaces, I want one surface. So I'm going to take this curve here. I'm going to extrude it. Let's use the little trick we learned with the little circle button.
Yeah.
Can you see that I've now got a join over there? If I explode this, I can actually explode it into different surfaces, which I don't want. I don't want this to be different surfaces. I want them to be one surface.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Control Z. I'm going to take this curve, which I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm going to rebuild to 9 points, degree 3. Okay, I'm looking for the maximum deviation, it's 50 micron. The red point is showing me that I changed your design the most over here.
Yeah.
If that was too much for you, you can go up a little bit more and you'll see your, oh, it actually got worse, not better. So let's go one down. Let's go up. The more you go up, the closer it will start matching it, and the smaller this number will start getting.
Okay.
Right? For me, I don't think it's that important at this point, so I'm just going to stick to 9.
Yeah.
I'm going to go OK.
Yeah.
You'll see that when I extrude this now, I have one surface. It cannot be exploded. If I type explode, okay,
yeah,
it's telling you that I can't explode that surface anymore. It's only one surface. All right, so let's delete that and let's continue through this. All right, so now that I've got this rebuilt, I've also got a circle inside here, which is also degree 2, so I'm going to rebuild it.
Yeah.
9 is fine, 8 is fine. I'm going to go okay there. Now I can join these two curves. All right.
Yeah.
Got a closed curve and a closed curve. All right, so we're going to extrude both of these, or we can use a loft. What I want to make is I want to make a ring, like a gents ring, that comes tapered down and has a flat on the top that we can put a pattern onto. Okay.
Yeah.
2 different ways to do this. You can extrude it and you can taper it, which is a fun tool. So we're going to do that for today. The other way you could have done this is you could have actually just done this, mirror this over to the other side, and then bring your points into each other before you, and then do a loft. We're going to do it a fun way. Nice little fun tool for you to play with today.
Yeah.
I'm going to extrude this. I want to make sure that on the command line we've got solid is yes.
Yeah.
And both sides is yes. All right. So
yes.
On the top, pick whatever width you want. I'm going to turn on grid snap. Remember what grid snap does? Allows us to snap to exact millimeters.
To the grid. Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to make this exactly 6 millimeters wide at the top.
Yes.
All right, now we've got a little fun tool in the side view. If we look at our ring, it's very chunky. Okay, we want to bring the bottom in a little bit, so it gets a taper, so it's not uncomfortable on the finger.
Yes.
Right, so we're going to grab this guy.
Yeah.
And the command in Rhino is called taper.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you want to start tapering from? Up the top here, just above the ring, just above the ring. All right, to the bottom, just below the ring, somewhere over there.
Okay.
Start distance out here. I'll show you what the command line does in a minute, and bring it in. All right, so you can start tapering, right?
Yeah.
You see that it has a kind of a curvature we don't really like.
Yeah.
On the command line, we're going to click infinite equals yes. All right. So now when you bring it in, it's straight. Always be mindful of what's happening in your other views. And you notice that as I'm bringing this guy in, it's also tapering in the front view.
Yes.
So on the command line, click flat. And so now we're getting exactly what we want. We can make a ring, we can taper it into the base. Okay. I'm going to do it again because I can see you look confused. So Control Z, let's do it again.
Normally, my question is when we do command, we command we command is on the item, but this one we choose from here and here.
It's where I can taper from because I don't want to snap accidentally to the wrong place, because if I snapped a taper on this corner and I started a taper on that, it would taper the ring in the wrong direction. So I'm working a little bit off the ring to make sure that it's dead flat. All right, I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to start the taper command again.
Taper.
Taper.
Yeah.
All right, select the object to taper.
Yeah.
Start of the taper axis. If I snap to this end, have a look in my perspective viewport. Am I snapping at the middle of the ring?
We step at the end.
I'm snapping at the end of this face. It's not the middle of the ring. So if I did this, and I go down, and I start a taper, and I bring the taper in, I got the whole thing is skewed. So to avoid doing that, I'm going to start the taper command.
Yeah.
I want to be dead flat, so I'm going to select the object to taper.
Yes.
I'm going to go near the middle of the object. Notice now, look in the perspective viewport.
Yeah.
That dot, because it's not on the ring, is on the ground plane, so the center of the world. So it's at the center of the world over there. If If you look at the front view, it's at the center of the world, and the top view, it's the center of the world. I'm working from the center of the ring.
Okay.
Then, where do I want to taper to? I want to taper between these 2 points, as long as I'm not on the ring, because I could snap to the ring here. And in this case, I got lucky. There is a mid, and I actually am snapped at the exact middle of the ring. But there could have been something else there. Wasn't a problem. So for this taper, I just do this.
Yeah.
Right? In the command line, if you only want to taper in this direction, make sure flat is set to yes. And if you don't want that kind of wobbly look, set infinite to yes. I'm going to turn it off to show you what I mean. So if you do this, can you see that it's not quite straight, the taper? It has a kind of a curvature going on. Look at the bottom.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah. It's a little bit like wobbly.
Yeah.
All right. For that, you'd switch infinite to yes.
Yeah. It's more straight from here to
100%,
here.
100%. All right. So I'm going to, this is a little bit of an organic look, so we're just going to go like that. I think that probably looks okay.
Yeah.
So we click OK. All right, so we can move on to the next section. I'm going to quickly do this again. I'm going to grab this face and I'm going to inset it a little bit. So I'm going to duplicate face border. So I'm going to, or duplicate edge. What if I needed these curves here around this face to do something with?
You need the curves.
What so curve? I could draw a rectangle from here to here.
Oh, you want copy?
Well, I've got the curve now, but I didn't draw it right. Okay. If I want the exact outside of this rectangle, the command in Rhino
mirror.
No. Duplicate face border. So I want to duplicate the face border. I want to dupe face border. All right.
Duplicate face border. Okay.
So everything in Rhino, this is one face.
Yes.
This is one face.
Yeah.
This is one face. Any item that can't be exploded. So if I explode this. Okay, if I explode this, there's one item. That's a face.
Yeah.
This is a face. This is a face. This is a face. And this is a face.
Got it.
All right.
Like a box have 6 faces.
Correct. So each of those things is a face. Now I'm going to join these again.
Yeah.
Okay. I want a curve that goes around this face.
Yes.
All right. So there's a couple of ways to do that. The commands nearly always start with dupe for duplicate. It's short for duplicate. I can duplicate an edge, I can duplicate a border, I can duplicate layers, I can duplicate mesh edges. In this case, I want to duplicate the border of a face. So duplicate the face border, select the face, it's this one, press enter. And there I have a curve. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wanted that is I want to offset the curve inside and I want to cut a little hollow in the face. All right? So I'm going to offset. Remember we learned this in lesson 2?
Yeah, we learned.
All right, so offset.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through point. I'm going to bring it in a little bit. Oh, I still got my grid snap on. Actually, I'm okay with grid snap. It means we can snap it in an exact amount. No, I want to be organic, so I'm going to turn that off. And I can now offset inwards just a little bit like this.
Yeah.
All right. I want to take this item. I want to split this face to give me 2 faces. So I'm going to split.
Yeah.
What is my cutting object that I want to split with? This curve.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I have a curve that I can move down to give myself a hollow in the ring. All right. The only thing I still need now is I need to, can you see I got a hole?
Oh, you're being cut out.
Yeah, because I cut, but I can now see into the ring. That's no good. All right. So I need to close this hole up. For that, I'm going to use loft.
Yes.
I'm going to loft from this edge to this edge. Well, I'm going to hide that curve so it doesn't confuse us. Take that curve, put on a coffee layer, change object layer, turn that layer off. All right, I'm going to use the loft command to loft between this edge of this face and this edge. Press enter. Okay, I do it again, loft with the right click from there to there. Okay, loft with the right click from there to there.
Yeah. And
work our way around. Loft from there to there. Okay, so what loft is doing is basically you could have done, let's delete that face, you could have gone sweep 2, this is my one rail, this is my other rail, this is my cross section, this is my cross section, and you could have done a sweep 2 to close the face.
Okay.
The faster way to do it in this instance is loft.
Yes.
Because we know that it's dead straight. Okay.
I think in last lesson we learned is that loft can't close.
If the surface is not planar, you're going to have a problem.
Can only close. Because last time we have a claw, right? We can't close one of the claw because.
Because it wasn't planar, it wasn't flat.
Okay. Oh, it has to be flat.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to grab all these guys, and I'm just joining it all back up for us. Okay.
Okay.
Oops, I missed that one there. Shift and join. Okay. So if you watt this now,
Yes.
you want to see that you have a valid poly surface and that it's closed.
Okay.
Okay.
Valid surface and closed.
Okay.
Closed solid.
10 surfaces or 10 faces are inside there. All right, so we kind of got this ring for this person, for a gents band. We're going to make it look a little bit better, so we're going to use a little command called fillet edge.
Fillet corner.
No, corner is for curves, edge is for solids. Okay.
Edge.
I know it doesn't make sense. I should make it the same command, but anyway, so we're going to go fillet edge.
Fillet edge. Edge means face.
Edge of two faces. There's a face. Okay. There's an edge. Where's the edge of a table?
Here.
There.
This is the face.
Where's the edge of where's the edge of the monitor? That's the edge of the monitor.
Okay, but this is the line. This is the line.
This is the face
yes.
of a table,
yes.
of a surface.
Yes,
this is the edge.
Okay, get it.
Okay, so we want to select the edges that we want to soften and how much do we want to soften. It's saying it's going to give us a 1 millimeter. For sure, we're not going to get 1 mil there, so I'm going to go 0.25 millimeter. What we're doing now is making it look nice for rendering. So I'm going to grab that, I'm going to grab that, and that. And that, and that, and this, and this. And I think that's pretty much everything we need. We'll press enter, and so you see what it's done? Softened all the edges for us nicely, so if you put this in the rendered viewport, it looks a bit nicer. It's not as hard as it used to be. Yes?
Question. Yeah. I thought we soft edge because it's a square. Why we need to soft the circle?
You don't need anything. Now you need to do is you need to breathe, otherwise you die. Everything else is optional. If you wanted that to be sharp for the customer, just leave it sharp. But you generally find in the real world, there's no such thing as jewelry that's this sharp on the inside. So this is just for rendering. Yeah,
you mean inside or here? Or here?
Just on the edge. What tool do we use now? Fillet edge.
Fillet edge. Oh, this circle's edge.
Yeah. So if I did this ring for you, if I printed and I made this ring as sharp as it actually is, and you try to put it on your finger, you would cut yourself.
Oh, okay.
So we do fillet edge. But just do that edge. You can see that it's now a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, okay.
Just the edge was filleted. So let's do the other one that side. Same thing. All right.
Got it.
I'm going to quickly redo that for these components here, and you, and you. I've got everything. Yeah. Okay. So now the ring at least it feels like it's not going to cut you. It's not quite as sharp as it used to be. All right. Yeah. Okay. So now comes the fun part of this lesson: how to put a little texture of something up in the top there. So I'm going to grab all my curves. How can I select all my curves at once?
Select all your curves once from this side and.
No, all the curves on the screen that I can't see at the moment. So remember how dupe was all the duplications? Cell, S-E-L, is your selections. I can select all the boxes on the screen. I can select bad objects on the screen. I can select control points. In my case, I want to select all the curves. Cell curve.
Cell curve.
So cell curve. See what happened? It selected all the curves for me. So okay. I'm going to move them onto our curve layer. So I'm going to change the layer to here.
Yeah.
Boop, they disappeared because the layer was turned off. So we've got all our curves together, so there's no more curves to annoy us in the screen. And we're going to start working. Yes?
When we finish one object, do we need to keep the curves, or the designer will delete all the curves?
Up to the designer. If the designer is not sure that the design is right, the designer better keep all the curves.
But after client approved, would
you ever use that to do another job? Are you ever going to make another job that might start from the same point as this? Why redraw it again?
Okay.
But in that case, you may save your curves out into a template saying these are the curves for signet ring, these are the curves for dome ring, these are the curves for eternity ring.
Okay.
And then re-import them each time you need them.
But if you don't need the curve for the other job, you can just delete it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going a little off track here. So I'm kind of running out of time, so let's hurry up this next part. So what we want to do is we want to put a texture, I don't know, texture like this
Yes.
on the top of the ring for the customer. The customer said, I want a little texture to go across the top.
Yeah.
So this happens quite a lot, by the way. So you've got a couple of ways to do this. The way to find the textures, first of all, is you go onto the web. Right. I was looking for engraving stuff. Let's close down all these. Let's close down all of these. Whoops. I was playing with my engraver this weekend. So in Google, you're going to search for Alpha Brush Seamless.
Seamless.
So the reason you're looking for seamless, you'll see in a minute why we're looking for, and go to images. Or let's try another way. Yeah, I like that one over there. So we want a pattern that we can repeat over and over. In the case of what I showed you on Friday, I wanted a more specific thing. I wanted dragon scale, so you can go dragon scale seamless. So you can see a lot of people do this. Right. So what we want is an alpha texture. Alpha means it's shades of black and white.
Right. Okay.
So you've got a heap of them. I went around the web a little bit and I found some that I liked. They're on my desktop. All right, so I'm pretty sure I saved them on my desktop. Let's close this. Yes, I've got on my desktop one over here. You can just see it on my... Okay, so once you've got one, you can search for it and you'll find a lot more.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so we're going to use this to stretch it across the top of the gentleman's ring.
Yes.
And this is actually going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. All right. So I'm going to move this out the way. Just know that that image is on my desktop.
Yes.
I'm going to give it a name now. So let's close that. I'm going to call it Dragon Scale. I'm just going to call it Scale. All right. So new command, very, very fun command. Work in your top view. Right? Yeah. Having a look at your size of this, we're going to run a command called Heightfield. Heightfield. All right. Yes.
No picture command.
You can put a picture command in if you want to see what's on the height field. It's going to do both at the same time.
Height field. Yes.
You can see in the desktop I was going to play with that one, and I'm now going to play with this one instead over here.
Yeah.
You could have had a rocky surface. It doesn't matter as long as they're shades of grey. How this works is black is the lowest and white is the highest. Okay.
Black is the lowest and
white is the highest.
So just anything for this part.
Yeah. So anything that's black will be low, and anything that's white will be high.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to take that, and I'm going to see I've got this kind of over here. What I'm trying to do is match that size. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to go here. I'm going to use grid snap. I'm going to pull it out. So that's kind of our size, I think. All right. So what it's asking for now is how many pixels should I make it out of? All right. So I found that for this specific one, 800 by 800 was okay.
Yes.
If you don't need that much resolution, you can half this. It'll just make it faster to work in Rhino.
Okay.
And then how high does it have to be when I bring it in? You can see that because I've done this before, I set about 0.7. If you want to set the image as a texture, the question you were asking before, it will also do a picture command and map it. All right. I feel like mesh is easier for Rhino to work with.
Yeah.
But you can bring it in as a surface if you need to. All right.
Okay.
I find that mesh is better.
The height question is that mean
how high it's going to be in Z.
The texture.
So black would be 0 and white would be 0.7 millimeters. And
black will be 0 and white will be 0.7.
Yeah.
Why not white is 0.7 and black is...
because that's not how it works. Black is 0.
Black is 0.
Black
always
is 0.
Black
always
is
0. Black is always 0.
So because black is bottom.
Because black is the bottom.
Oh, so we want white is 0.7.
Or you can have white whatever you want, but in this case, yes.
0.7.
Yeah. But remember, you can scale it in Rhino. It's not really that important.
Yeah,
so let's just click OK.
It. Yeah.
All right, so if we set this over to a rendered viewport, we can have a look at what we just did. We created a piece of geometry from an image. Okay.
So see this part a little bit domed.
Yeah.
That's 0.7.
That's 0.7.
Oh,
because black is 0, a little bit grey is
Yeah.
higher, all the way to white. So
I get it.
from black to white, that's what you're going to get.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. So in the rendered viewport, we can have a look at this guy. We can give it a rotate exactly 90 degrees.
Yes.
Or depending on what the customer wanted. You can bring it
Yeah.
over, and you can bring it up,
Yeah.
and you can scale it a little bit. I'm going to turn off my grid snap for now.
Yes.
Scale it a little bit and move it over a little bit, something like that. In the side view, just bring it in, and when we use wash mesh, this will be okay. So you'll see
Yeah.
now why I said that 0.7 for this one might not be enough.
Yeah.
You see how you can see the bottom of the ring instead of the black, because this went under. Look in the front view, it went under. So I'm going to scale this a little bit down and then move it a little bit back up. Where are we now? That's better. Now you can see the whole thing. Okay. So right now, all we're going to do with this one is we're just going to copy it.
Scale. I'll copy.
From here, we're going to hold shift and bring it over a little bit. And then move it. Okay, so this is very dirty. I'm going to show you a complex way to make sure that it's seamless. We'll talk about seamless textures in a minute. So in the real world, when you do a wash mesh, these two will become one. Can you see over here? Slightly over. Okay, so you can move that in just a little bit to there. And now you're seamless. All right. So you do for a third one and then chop it off, or you grab both of these and scale them.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to join those two meshes together.
Yeah.
I'm going to scale them out a little bit, and then move them over a little bit, and scale them out a little bit. And in a click or two, you've got a texture on the top of that ring for that customer. Yep.
Question: why we use copy, not just use scale at the beginning, just to drag it longer?
Well, because this would look terrible if you scaled it out that fat. Scales.
Oh, we change the shape of the scale.
Yeah.
Oh,
so we copy the second one in there. If I scaled it out too fat, the scales would look rubbish.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's why we copy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But the little is fine.
All right, so I'm going to show you how you overcome this problem. In this case, for this customer, that was enough. All right, so you grab that and you're ready to export now. So we do a wash mesh to smooth it down, and the customer's happy. But what happened if you need to use that again right around the ring? All right, so let's talk about seamless textures. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go to shaded viewport and how you can make a seamless texture. So according to the web, this was a seamless texture, but it wasn't. I'll show you what I mean. Did you see that they didn't both exactly touch each other? So if you come in and you do the height field again.
Yes.
Okay. Grab the same image again.
Yes.
Bring it in. It doesn't even matter what size you make it. Just hold shift to make sure it's dead straight.
Yes.
Okay. The image was created as a tileable. The image was created to be tileable, but you can see the image had a black border.
Yes.
And so that's why when you try to line them up, they don't line up exactly. Right? So all we're going to do now is we're going to make a square, make a rectangle, and when you make a rectangle and you hold shift, it makes an exact square.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't matter where we make the square because the texture is tileable. We can do that.
Yes.
Bring the square, put it in the middle over here.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to split the mesh with that.
Yes.
Right? So I need to be able to see it. So take this mesh, mesh split. What are we going to split it with? There's a square behind there, so I'm going to select it. I'm going to press enter. Bottom.
Yeah.
So if we throw this away now, and we've got a shaded viewport, or rendered viewport, this is exactly square with no black line around it anymore.
No problem.
So I can take that curve, get rid of it. Now, if you needed to copy this texture, it would be a lot simpler, right? Because you can take this, you can go array.
Array.
All right, new command.
Yeah.
So I want to copy lots of things by an exact number. Let's do it the easy way first. So I'm going to go copy.
Yeah.
What's the point I want to copy from? I'm going to turn on my vertex snap. Vertex means part of the mesh. I'm going to grab that end of the mesh and come all the way over here. I'm going to copy it to exactly this end of the mesh. Bang, like that. And I can copy a second one. Bang, like that. Right? Oh, I should have cut that square a little bit closer. Anyway, we're close enough for now. So what happens if you wanted to do lots of these, not just these two for this customer, right? What if you wanted to make this thing very long? So the command for that, new command for today, and this works for, I happen to be using it on mesh, but you can use it on anything. So array. Which direction do we want to array? I'm going to have to do this in a shaded viewport because you can't see directions. Okay, see that little axis?
Yes.
This is the Y direction.
Yes.
This is the X direction. So we want to copy this thing out. Well, let's copy it in this direction. Let's copy it in the Y direction just for fun.
Okay.
So we're going to copy this 10 times. So the command is array.
Yes.
Right. Number in the X direction, because you can do it in both directions at once, by the way.
Yes.
Well, let's do it in both directions, just for now. Number in the X direction is 5. So I want to make 5 copies in that direction.
Yes.
In the Y direction, I want to make 5 copies as well. So I'm going to have 25 squares when I'm done.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
In the Z direction, only 1. All right.
Okay.
So now it's saying, where's your spacing? How far do you want to array? So I want to go from that point. In this case, we want to go to the exact opposite diagonal corner, which is here, like that. Oh. And when I press enter now,
yes,
it's a lot of mesh. Give Rhino a second to catch up.
Okay.
So I've got it rendered now. I've got a ton of these, except I didn't cut it exactly square.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the array tool.
Yeah.
You can pull out 25 by 25 by 25.
Got it.
So same thing, you can do it with a ring. Array. And I'm going to keep it in X, keep it in Y, and keep it over there. What's my cell spacing? I want to make 25 rings like this.
Yes.
Isn't that a lot easier than copying?
Okay, I get it.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've gone through how to bring in meshes. I'm going to show you another little one quickly.
Sorry, I still got a bit confused about the picture why we use mesh. Because before we use a picture, why now we use mesh?
Because a picture is flat. The customer wants an actual texture. Okay, so I'm going to do this slowly again. Listen. All right. So here's a picture. Here's a picture. Put it in.
Yes.
Right. What is that picture?
On the top.
Let's delete all this. Let's delete all that.
Yeah.
So here's a picture. Scale it smaller. Let's put on the ring. Notice in the side view what your problem is. It has no height. It's just a picture. It's flat.
Mesh means 3D.
You're going to make how to make the picture 3D is we're going to use a mesh to do it. The mesh is going to take the picture and the points at black, it's going to make them at 0. The points at white, whatever size we want.
Oh,
okay.
That's called mesh. Oh, okay.
Well, can be anything you like, so I'm going to do it again. Heightfield.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to find that image.
Yes.
Okay. In this viewport, I'm going to drag it out here.
Yeah. Shift.
Shift to lock it. Okay, yes. So it's saying what number of points in the mesh.
Yeah.
So the mesh that's going to make the 3D, how dense or how light do you want it? You'll see that if I make this only 200 by 200, the mesh is going to come out looking not really great. It's like low resolution, like using a 5 megapixel front-facing camera instead of a 20 megapixel back camera.
Okay.
What's the height between those? Is this?
Okay.
Do I want a mesh? Yep.
Oh.
I'm going to not set the image as a texture this time so you can see clearly what's happening. All right, so that looks great in this viewport. Let's go to this viewport and have a look at the quality of it. At 200 by 200, whoops. That wasn't too bad actually. Okay.
Oh,
so I turned a flat thing into a 3D thing.
It's a little bit not very sharp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the image that I found was really bad. Okay. So let's grab another one. Maybe it's got a better image. In my desktop, no. I think in my downloads I had one. So there's one there.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Same thing. Same thing. Okay.
Yes.
So now, without having to learn how to draw all this, you've got an actual piece of geometry that looks like twisted wires and twisted ropes. You could have come put that on top of the ring for the customer instead. So see the difference between a picture? It was a dead flat thing on the bottom.
Yeah.
In other words, if you printed and cast it, it wouldn't be there. It doesn't exist. It was just flat. This is now 3D. Okay. And so now you have a texture on the ring for the customer. Okay. Bring it in a little bit more like that. Oh, yeah.
What even happened is something here, a little bit over.
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
I thought it's, okay.
Okay, so at this point, you'd now be ready to do what we did before. If you had a lot of them, you'd do an array. If you don't have a lot of them, you're just going to do a copy. So to me, it'd be faster to copy. Right, so if we grab this guy and we do a copy from the very edge vertex over there to the very last vertex over here. 2 was enough. I can do another one, and then you can split it off if you need. I can't snap to vertex. Okay, we'll take those 2, we'll scale them out. So these 2 we can now join. And if you think you can get away with it, you can now scale that a little bit, move it over.
Yeah.
A little bit more scale.
Okay. A little bit over is fine, right?
Yeah. It has to be in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when you go to wash mesh this, it's not going to work. So you need to be in the surface just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Then when we do the wash mesh, it'll automatically turn it back into a solid for us.
Okay.
So can you imagine the amount of curves you would have had to make, do this, sweep, loft? It would have been a disaster to try to figure out how to make this pattern.
Okay.
Right? So always keep yourself a little library of them on hand. When I find good ones, so you can just search Z alpha brush. Okay. And when you find a good website, so there's an alpha library from ZBrush. Let's have a quick look.
Okay.
Let's see what alphas they have. So if you wanted to make this into a solid, this is pitch black, this is white. You would actually get a solid. You wouldn't have to draw anything. You could just immediately extract it. So you've got patterns, paints, natural things, scratches, stencils. Right, so look at that beautiful pattern you got there. So there's there's a fantastic little pattern there. I don't know what it is. Let's have a quick look at it. You could extrude that, blank, straight onto your piece without having to draw anything.
Alright.
Okay, so this is more an artistic tool.
Okay.
But if you very quickly need a texture on an item, that's a quick way to get to it.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
I'm going to save that and send you the file.
That's it.
That's it. I told you, easy lesson. Heightfield, extrude, copy.
Heightfield, extrude, copy. Actually, Heightfield.
Yeah.
Okay. All good.
All good.